Hello, hello. Welcome. It's tip 29 today from Aletha Solter's book, Raising Drug-Free Kids, and we are into the chapter on 3 to 6-year-olds. And so I'm T, your joyful parent guide and harmonizer, and yesterday we talked about number 28, which was turn off the TV. And today, number 29 is don't pressure your child to read. So now I don't know if you're like me this way, but when you hear something like that, don't do this. I automatically swing to exactly the opposite. Like, okay, I will steer clear of that. No pressure at all. Now, we're not talking about not encouraging or not providing a conducive environment here. We want to encourage our child to read, but just not pressure them with high expectations. You need to read before kindergarten or whatever that might be. And so some ways that we can encourage them are, number one, we can read to them. Right? We can read to them and we can have fun with it. We can read to them during the day. We can read to them before they go to sleep. And if we're doing it in a relaxed way, then they're going to be building some associations with reading that it can be relaxing. It's a positive association. Books are good. I associate them with snuggling and cuddling, or at least, peaceful interaction. So that's one thing. Number two, another way that we can encourage them to read is by letting them see us read. And I was reflecting, I'm not sure I did a great job of that. I read a lot. I have almost always read a lot. But sometimes I will, just as a default, sort of sequester myself and read. And sometimes that is good and on purpose and it's good for me, but sometimes, I could have just as easily been reading in a common area or reading in front of my child or talking to my child about something that I'm reading. So letting them see you read for enjoyment is also a way to encourage them to read. In general, but especially at this age, 3 to 6. What else does she say? So she says, if we put expectations on our kids around reading, they're going to unconsciously maybe, but they're going to start feeling like they're not good enough. They're not enough. And they might feel like, ooh, I can't trust myself to know when I'm supposed to do things or when is a good idea for me to do things. I guess I need to trust outside of myself. That is the biggest danger here, I think, is eroding their trust in their inner knowing on some of these things. It's like sort of stamping out the instinct of an animal, right? Like that's not good. Not good. They're going to need to be connected with their instincts. They're going to need to be connected with their inner knowing. And our kids are too. They're really going to benefit if they are connected to that. So there's that. And I will also say this, sort of coming back around to the whole the notion of raising drug-free kids. When we put expectations on our kids, or when they self-identify as someone who really needs to get the good grades because that's part of who they are, that's part of their identity, maybe things will get more challenging in their studies, and they might turn to things like coffee. Okay, it seems pretty harmless, right? Coffee to stay awake. I mean, most adults are in that boat. Like coffee to wake up. It's kind of the norm, so no big deal. So coffee, more coffee, more coffee. Suddenly coffee's not cutting it, and I can speak from my own experience in this specific area. Coffee wasn't cutting it for me in college. I was in an extremely demanding program, and I, maybe was having a little of extra fun, and I was spreading myself a little thin, but when it came down to doing the studying and the problem sets, I needed more than coffee. So my roommate and I would find ourselves some no-dos. And so that was what we found then. Fast forward, uh, you know, 30 plus years, okay? And there are other things, right? There's Ritalin, there's methamphetamine. I mean, maybe some of those things existed then. I didn't know about them. But it's not a harmless proposition. And I'm not, there's no blame here, right? But just trying to connect some dots and show that there could be some connections here, and why she's talking about this in the as a tip around not pressuring your child as connected to wanting to raise drug-free children. So any questions about that, please post a comment under the video or in the Facebook group, the Relational Parents Facebook group, and I would love to engage in a conversation. So, but until then, also if you're watching the replay, hashtag EASE, so pound EASE if you're watching the replay, so I know that you were here. I would love to know that. You take good care, and I will see you next time with the next tip. Bye for now.